Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I hope you are having an amazing day. And I have a treat for you today. I have Mr. Russ Henneberry, who is an AI powered digital marketing consultant, speaker, and a co author of Digital Marketing for Dummies. He's the founder of The Click, an AI marketing training and community platform. Russ also consults and trains employees to increase marketing efficiency and ROI using AI technology and tactics. Welcome, Russ.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you because AI is the now thing,
Isn't it? Yeah, everybody's talking about AI.
or using it. It
It's an
doesn't.
exciting time to be alive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I love AI. So you with the right one. So, in your opinion, what's some of the mistakes that business are making when they're using AI to do their marketing?
Yeah. So, when we think about using AI for business, the biggest mistake that I'm seeing people making is they're using the generic version of an AI system. For example, ChatGPT 4.0 is an incredibly powerful AI. It's very knowledgeable, extremely capable. As we know, it's taken in all of the content that we created and put on the internet for it. Um, but the problem is that when we're using AI for business, it doesn't really know anything about the businesses that we're marketing. So what we want to do is when you're using an AI system, you want to create some simple documents that you can bring into the conversation that you're having with the AI system that will help that AI have the context it needs to actually help you grow your business. So, for example, there's almost never a case when we're working on a business that we don't want to know the context of what are we selling and who are we selling it to. So, in business terms, we would call this the offer and the persona, right? So who is the persona I'm trying to reach and what am I trying to sell that persona? And so if you just create some simple documents and keep them on your computer, you can just keep them as PDF files that really thoroughly talk about. And I don't mean that there's anything magic about this except to describe your product. What does it do? What does it cost? Does it have a warranty or a guarantee? Does it have terms and conditions? Does it have a free trial? Does it, whatever it is, all of the detail that you can give it, the more the better about that product. And then create another document that describes the person that you're trying to sell to or the multiple persons. Sometimes businesses have multiple personas and describe, especially in that document, the challenges and the pain points that that persona has that your product solves or your offer solves. And then take those two PDF documents. And the simplest thing to do, and we can talk about some slightly more advanced, but certainly not super technical ways of doing this. The easiest way to do this is to open a new thread inside of something like ChatGPT 4.0 and then attach the offer and the personas to that thread and ask the AI, do you understand the documents that are attached here, right? And it'll go and analyze those documents. And then you're working with an AI system that is starting the conversation grounded in some truth. And that truth is, what are you selling and who are you selling it to? And you will be shocked at how much better your AI system will perform when you bring this kind of context into just a generic version of AI. It'll do so much better, Ida.
Oh, righty now. Well, I just learned something. So now I will be doing that. Yeah. And that makes sense because the AI needs to know who you are, the intricate points of what your business offers, who you serve.
Yeah. Yeah, a bonus document to create is a description of your business, right? When was it founded? What's its mission statement? Who's the primary person that owns it? What's their biography? Any context you could bring in. You can almost think about this like if you were going to hire a human to come in and work on the marketing of your business, for example, what information would you onboard them with? right? What would you want them to know? And there really isn't anything magical about these documents necessarily, even though you can get better and better at formatting them and making them more thorough and all of that stuff. But, um, there's really nothing magical about them. Just create some documentation about your business, your personas, your offers, and once you add this kind of context and you see how much smarter your AI becomes, because you can just start to have conversations with it like, how do you think I could sell more of this offer that you now know about to this persona? Like, give me some ideas, give me some promotions ideas, give me some webinar ideas, give me some, I want to start a podcast to sell more of this to this person. What ideas do you have? It'll be so much better because it understands now in the
Yeah.
same way that you could bring a human marketer into a conversation, and that marketer might say to you, you might ask that marketer, like, hey, I want to create a podcast. And it has no context, like zero idea what you sell, who you are, when you started the business, anything like that. Well, a smart marketer is going to ask this question. They're going to say, well, what are you selling? And you would answer that. And then they would say, well, who are you selling it to? Like, tell me about the customer and tell me about your business and get some context into the conversation before they're going to come at you with what your podcast should be. But most people are using AI and they're just coming in, doing what I call a cold start, which is an AI that's just been opened up and the new thread has been started. It has no idea what you're about ready to ask it. You could ask it, you might ask it what you're going to have for, a recipe for something you're cooking tonight, or you might ask it about a podcast. It doesn't have any context about what you're about to talk to it about. So bring that context into the thread, and you would be shocked at the impact that will have.
And that makes so good sense, actually. So now that's on my to-do list to do, create this document and make sure that, because what I found when I just ask questions, you get answers, but it's generic.
This is what I call the boiled chicken problem. So there's two problems in AI for business. The first one's the cold start problem. That is, every time you start an AI, it's got amnesia. It doesn't remember anything you talked about it before, and all this stuff. So those documents solve that problem. The second problem is the boiled chicken problem, which is the generic output that you get. And this, by the way, this same process of creating these documents and bringing them in as context solve that problem as well. So, you would be surprised at how much better, for example, if you asked it to come up with a bunch of podcast episode ideas, if after you build these documents, ask the generic AI that doesn't have any context, and then ask your AI that does have the context, and you tell me the difference. You'd be
Oh, I can already feel it's going to make a difference. Just based on this conversation. And it makes sense. It just makes sense. And people never thought about it like that because they just type in some stuff and really not telling it who they are, what their product is. And like you said, when you're talking to somebody that's going to take care of your marketing, they're going to ask you those questions.
my first job was at Hardee's. And when I started at Hardee's, they brought me into the bag. I was like 16, and they put me in the little manager's office, and they put a VHS tape in a little TV, and they made me watch a video about who is Hardee's and who do they sell to and what do they sell and what are they known for? They're known for this and known for that. And so what they were doing is they were onboarding me, they were training me, right? And then they walked me around the store and they showed me this and they showed me that, and they said this is it. And then they said, okay, now go do your job, right? And the same thing here. Like if Hardee's would have brought me in and just put me in front, because I ended up being the guy who fried the chicken. If they'd have just put me on the fried chicken machine right off the bat, I wouldn't have known anything about the company. I wouldn't have known about who we're serving or what we're selling, and I certainly wouldn't have known how to operate the fried chicken machine. I wouldn't have done a good job. And the same things with our AI systems, right? They are a form of intelligence, and they can learn things, but you have to bring. It's sort of that garbage in, garbage out idea of software, right? Where the amount of preparation that you give your AI is going to determine what comes out of it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's part of the computer field, put junk in, you're going to get junk out. And
Yeah.
that makes perfectly good sense. Wow. So your AI marketing central command center, what does that mean and what should that look?
Right. So this takes this concept that we just talked about a little step further. So when you have a paid account at ChatGPT, for example, or OpenAI, there is a button in there called Explore GPTs. And if you click on that, Explore GPTs, and then you click on Create inside of there, which won't be there unless you're paying for $20 a month,
Mhm.
you will find that you can create a custom version of the AI, and you will be, if you haven't done this before, you will be astonished at how easy they have made this. You give it a name, so you might call this guy the AI marketing hub, right? This is the term I use a lot. And then give it a description, like this is where I go to do marketing for this business, right? With AI. And then you give it some instructions. Now, those instructions can be, there's nothing magical about them. You can even just put in there, act as an expert marketing strategist and just leave it at that.
Mhm.
But what you're doing is you're customizing a version of ChatGPT. The last thing is the most important thing, which is there is a knowledge base inside of there, which some of this sounds scary to some people, but it's so easy. You click upload, and just like you would attach a PDF to an email, you attach your persona and your offers and maybe a profile of your business, these separate PDF files, to that AI Marketing Hub GPT, and you click save. Now you've created a custom version of ChatGPT. And what you've done, what's different about the what we talked about earlier is you've created a permanent place where these documents live inside of your instance of ChatGPT. So anytime you open ChatGPT, if you want to, you can open up that GPT and it will always have your persona in there, your offers, your little profile of the business. Let's say you wanted to create a document about your brand voice. Like what tone do you use? What do you use metaphors a lot? Do you write this way? Do you write that way? And you create a nice document about your brand voice. You attach that inside of your GPT. And again, it's just like attaching documents to an email. And there's nothing necessarily magical about the documents. I think a lot of people might think, well, how do you create these documents? And it's like, uh, create a brand voice find I have processes that I teach in my membership about how to build these personas and offers, but there's nothing necessarily magical about it. It's just bring the information in any way that something is better than nothing kind of thing.
Mhm.
But you could certainly go and build a very exhaustive brand style guide or voice guide and add that, or maybe bring some data out of your Google Analytics, or bring, whatever it is that you feel like you want this AI to know, bring it in there and attach it to that knowledge base. And you'll find that anytime you want to call on that knowledge, you can do that inside of that AI and it's all saved for you. And that completely eliminates the cold start problem. So you don't open an AI with amnesia, you open an AI with permanent, or what I call persistent memory about that particular task. And when you get real crazy with this, you can start to create multiple GPTs. You can create other versions that only have this context because it only needs to do this job. You use this little AI for this job and this little AI for that job, and it's got different context attached to it. So this is really the key insight to unlocking what AI is actually capable of, is how you customize it. And they have made it so easy to do by just giving it a name and a description and a little bit of instruction and then attaching files to it.
Okay, now in doing so, is it secure
It's a
to
good question.
you?
Now, I am not an attorney, and I want anybody listening to this to email Ida about all legal questions. But here's what I would say about that. Don't put sensitive customer information inside of an AI system. That's my advice. Certainly not I think we all know how these AI systems became the AIs that they are. They were not worried about copyrights. They weren't worried. They were thirsty for more and more information and data to put into their system, and they broke a lot of what we would consider traditional copyright law to do that. I think that's clear now. So I don't trust them with customer information or data that I don't want to be leaked out elsewhere. That said, I do think as we see AI continue to evolve in the same way that we've seen people start to trust like Salesforce.com or HubSpot to hold very sensitive data in the cloud up
Right.
there, I think we will start to see situations where it's like, actually, I think this is secure now. But for today,
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anything in there that uh, you don't want your mom to see.
And that makes me think about like the chat bots. I'm about to add one to my website. And one of the things you have to train it.
Yep.
Now, can you use AI to train that? Or is it just because I've gone to some chat bots and it's horrible. You can tell they didn't do nothing.
So if you go to my website, which is jointheclick.ai, the bot that I'm using on there is no code. It's using Zapier,
Okay.
which has a little chat bot builder. And the way I train that AI is by attaching the same documents that we've been talking.
Um, okay.
So for that AI, I might take if it's a customer service bot, for example, I might take a lot of common questions, FAQs that I get through my ticketing app like Zendesk or whatever,
Mhm.
and create some documentation on, here's how these questions are responded to so that the robot reads that. And you'd be surprised. I mean, you can Zapier has done a good job, at least with its bot. It stays within these guardrails. It's really hard to get it to talk about anything outside of its training data. If you try to get it to, for example, I've tried to get it to like give me a free coupon code for my products and stuff like that to see if it will do that. And it just doesn't. Like it's got rails around it. So, but yeah, this idea of creating these documents that we even began this podcast talking about, like personas and offers and what you sell and FAQs and stuff like that. These kind of documents become super powerful because you can attach them to any AI system, no matter which one you're using. You just go and grab pretty much the same documents and be like, what context does this AI need? What context is it? So very, very similar to my example of how, working at a fast food restaurant. What does this guy need to know to be the fried chicken guy? And what does this person need to know over here to flip burgers? And what does this person need over here to make fries? You think about what is your AI going to do and what documents need to be brought into that AI's knowledge base to do that job. And you
Okay.
really, a little tip here is you don't want to bring in extra context that it doesn't need. I
Mhm.
made the mistake early on when I was playing with this stuff and learning this stuff to thinking more is better. Like the more I bring in here, that's better. Like, and that may be true a year from now or 2 years from now as these systems get better and they're able to search through lots of information and hold in what I call their short-term memory, lots of information. But right now they have a limited capacity to understand only this and this and this, but not, that over there, I can't hold it, all of that in here. So um, it is my advice is to decide what does that particular AI need and just bring in that context and not feel like, oh, well, I just drag it all in there because can't hurt. Well, it actually does hurt. It can get lost. Like it just doesn't know where to go grab things.
Okay. Wow. So your book, Digital Marketing for Dummies. I haven't seen a dummies book in some eons because it was real popular back in the day. It was dummy books for everything.
They literally have a dummies book for everything. Yeah.
Yes. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I can tell you writing it was a task and a half. But you want me to talk about the contents of it?
Yes.
Well, so I wrote that with a guy I work with named Ryan Dice, and Ryan and I wrote that the first edition. Phew, it's probably been 8 years ago, maybe now, or 9, and we've updated it twice since then. And they will certainly come a knocking since AI is here to have it updated again. But the book itself walks through the type of marketing that Ryan and I teach about, which is very measurable type of marketing. Um, some people call it like direct response marketing or performance marketing. And it walks through the strategies of setting up a business so that you can create sort of predictable machines that generate leads and awareness and traffic and sales and retention and all of the things that you want to see come out of a business. And so I think when we finished it, we marketed it of course, because, we had this book finished and we wanted to market it. And we were telling people like, this is the only dummies book that's not for dummies. This thing's for real. Like you're not gonna get a bunch of fluffy stuff in here. We put some really amazing stuff in that book.
Good. So how can people get the book?
Oh, it's on Amazon. It's at your bookseller. Just look for Digital Marketing for Dummies.
Oh, okay. So your membership program, how does that work?
Yeah, if you go to jointheclick.ai, you can see that there's two ways to join the click. One is free. So we do lots of trainings. I did one today that was a free training, and again, these trainings aren't fluff. We differentiate ourselves by using what I call a sandbox approach, which is that I think you learn to do AI by doing AI. So I'll teach a concept for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then we have an exercise that we go through. So, for example, today we built an AI system to help with brand redesign. So, like if you're working on your homepage or you're working on maybe you got Canva or something, and you're like me and you're not real great with like what colors go with this and what fonts go together and da da da. So I've built an AI system because I'm not super good at design that helps me with design, and it knows the font families that I use and the colors that I use, and I use the AI to build it. I used uh, a company that I admire a lot, their design, and I said, I like the look of this. And I had the AI go look at it and sort of reverse engineer the fonts they're using and the colors that they're using. And I made some changes and I built this AI, customized AI, um, that understands the type of branding I want to use. And so I can ask it questions like, hey, I need a new color for my calls to action. What color should I use? And it's like, oh yeah, well, I can see you're using this color and that color. So here's some ideas. So I've just basically built this, what I call a brand bot, that I can talk to about branding and colors and design. So that's the kind of trainings that we do at the Click. And we have the free version, which has quite a bit of training. I encourage people to check that out. You can see all the catalog that's coming up of free trainings at jointheclick.ai. And then we have the paid version, which is $348 a year. And yeah, we work with more advanced things in that class. With that group, we do things like building AI agents, and we have some longer form courses that become available when you join the paid version.
Yeah, well, that sounds really nice. I mean, I've just in this conversation, I've learned quite a bit.
Yeah, well, and yeah, you'll be surprised at what we're doing over there. There's some really smart people that are members. Of course, there's a community in there of people talking about AI and marketing. And yeah, come join us, Ida. Like, just join the free version.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it because I mean, I'm always looking for. I mean, I've been in the computer field for 50 plus years, so I'm dating myself, but I've always liked technology. And one of the things that I do like about technology is it always
Oh
moving,
my God, yeah.
always moving. It's always something fresh. So I'm looking forward to joining the group because I really want to build like agents, stuff that you're talking about. Um, and I know once I'm working with people, then I can get it, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I think is exciting, because I can tell you're probably a lot like me, where you're not a coder or a developer or a programmer, but more of a creative person and likes to use tools like AI. Am I guessing that right?
Yes, yes, I
So
do.
the exciting thing for people like us is that these AI systems are really taking the need to have really technical expertise in something, whether it be, like I said, creating applications or coding something, or all the way up to creating videos or graphics or different things like that. So you've been around a long time, so you know what a WYSIWYG editor is. It's a
Yes,
what you see is what you get, right? So
yes,
you remember when the WYSIWYG came around, we didn't have to know how to code websites anymore. We would just use a WYSIWYG. So we would just type something out and you'd highlight it and you'd bold it and you could highlight something, put a link in there, and all that code was being written on the back. And there was an explosion of websites built and content created on the back of that WYSIWYG editor. That what you see, and you see it everywhere. If you open up WordPress, you build a page. You're not building the code. You're just writing something and highlighting it and making it a
yes,
heading, and all that's being done with the WYSIWYG. What's changing with AI is that it's not what you see is what you get anymore. It's what you say is what you get. So if you
yeah,
can describe what you want, the AI will go off and build it for you. So it's what you say is what you get. If you say, build me a video with a bunch of people at a conference, taking notes, very excited, looking at a speaker on stage, it will build that video for you. You don't need a video crew. You don't need that technical expertise to create a really great piece of video. And you can have it code things. You can say, like, build me a application, build me a that runs a quiz, and here are the quiz questions, and I want it to add up all the answers and give them a score and all. If you can describe it, then the AI just goes and writes the code for you. So it's what you say is what you get. We're going to see another explosion of content, applications, things like that. And this time, Ida, it's our turn, the creative people with the great ideas that are sort of like up against the wall a little bit, like, because it's like, oh, I got to go hire I'd love to build that, but I need a video crew, or I'd love to build that, but I need a really great graphics person, or I'd love to build that, but I need a programmer to make that application. That's going to go away. It's already going away, because we're getting these what you say is what you get editors, right? Which are these AI tools.
yes. And it's so funny you talking about that because I just created a campaign, and basically with the AI tool that I'm using, I just put in what I want to say, and then it asks me for my website. So I put
Mhm.
my website, so it goes out to my website and looks at all of the information that I offer from there. And then it creates a video for me. And I'm like, loving life. Only one problem I had, and I can pick the voice. It didn't get my website right. So I've got to probably go in and maybe space the letters. So
Yeah.
it actually says each letter. I think it says JMM Brada radio. No, JMM radio. I'm like, radio. So I'm probably going to space it out and see what kind of voice comes out of that. So I was tickled pink when I did that.
I bet.
I
Yeah,
was
I mean,
like,
there's been these barriers for creatives like us, and those barriers are going to go away. It's why I think it's so exciting. Time, it's an exciting time, like for people that want to build things. I think in some ways an AI becomes sort of a magic wand that allows us to conjure things simply by thinking about it. If you have a great idea, I think you're going to be able to make it happen over the next years.
yes, absolutely. So, how do people connect and get involved?
Well, of course, you can check out our membership at jointheclick.ai. You can look at the catalog of upcoming trainings that we have going on. You can choose whether to decide to become a free member or a paid member, and then say hi to me in the community in there. But I'm also all over LinkedIn. So search for Russ Henneberry on LinkedIn, shoot me a connection request, say hi. I pretty much leave LinkedIn open all day and just kind of keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that's me. I keep it open all day because it's so much going on.
Mm,
And it's a lot of good people out there.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow. We're gonna have to do this again.
I'd
It's,
love to.
yes, we're gonna have a part two. This might even be a series. Because there's so much to talk about. But quickly, deep seek. What's your thoughts about that?
Okay, so DeepSeek, I think, shocked a lot of people, and there's two reasons. One is because of the geopolitical, sort of charge there is to it, because of how some people feel like we're in this race with China and stuff like that. And I think one thing that's clear is that China is not as far back as we thought they were. Maybe we thought they were a year behind. They're probably more like 3 to 6 months behind.
Mhm.
But what I'd also say is that they are still behind. So I don't know if that's what you're worried, but what your listener might be worried about would be if you're thinking about the geopolitical side of this, because I do think there's something to be said for the national security side of what's going on with AI. But the other way to think about it from a business standpoint is that what DeepSeek has done is further driven the cost of intelligence towards zero. So any place that you see intelligence being where we're charging for intelligence, you're going to see that area get disrupted. So and DeepSeek is just you know showing us uh, that is going to happen faster than we even thought that it was, because they were able to prove that they're able to build this model for much lower cost, even though there's a dispute about how much it costs, and we'll never really know what it costs them. The bigger picture here is that any place that we are seeing access to intelligence being something that is being sold, right? So the big ones, of course, are things like healthcare, right? So what are you really accessing when you go to a hospital or a doctor's office? You're accessing a specialized intelligence. That doctor, right, has special intelligence. They are charging you for that intelligence, and it is limited, and it is actually quite limited depending on where you live, right? And it's quite expensive because it's limited, right? That's the supply and demand side of things. Well, what we're going to see is a massive disruption to that. If this is done properly and rolled out properly, we will all have access to intelligence that understands health and healthcare. Let's talk about education. It's another big area where we charge for intelligence, right? Why does it cost more to go to Harvard than it costs to go to Missouri State, where I live, right? Where I went. Well, because I'm accessing a theoretically greater and greater intelligence based on the school I choose, or whether I'm able to even afford to go to a school at all. And that will be massively disrupted because, again, if it's rolled out properly, we will all have access to the greatest level of intelligence, whatever we want. We will be able to, again, is that magic wand and conjure it up as companies like DeepSeek and OpenAI and Google and so forth continue to drive the cost of intelligence towards zero. We are going to see disruption. So any place you see intelligence as the thing that's being brokered, you should understand that there will be disruption there, and that one of the cool things that we can do for particularly for like you and I, for example, because I do sounds like a very similar type of business as yours and so forth, is you build communities. You build groups of people that want to be connected to each other, and because that's there's real value there. But and having real human to human conversations like this, these are the kinds of things that I think people will find a premium in as we continue to see AI disrupt different things in our lives. But you can just see how much benefit will come from this if it's rolled out properly.
Yes, yes. I mean, I'm already seeing some benefits.
Yeah.
Already, I've interviewed a gentleman who basically you have your medical records.
Mhm.
right on your phone. So when you, let's say you're out of the country and you need to go see a doctor, they have your information, your history in any country that you go to. Yeah, that's a little bit scary,
Yeah.
but at the same time, right now, our medical record is an open book anyhow
Pretty
with the
much is.
hacking, community.
Well, if you just take, that we open this conversation by talking about essentially bringing context into an artificial intelligence. If we talk about the healthcare system, right? Like if you, instead of creating a PDF about your customer persona, you create another document that contains your health history and you give it to an AI, it's going to be far better at giving you advice. And if you take an AI system and you, for example, give it 100 million different images of brain tumors, and you give it the outcome from each one of those tumors, these are past tumors that already happened and all this stuff, and then you show it a new tumor, and you say, what's going to happen here with this one? Should we operate on that? Is it, how should we operate on it? How should we do that? It takes all of that context from all of the information that is pulled into his brain. It's going to far surpass what, in certain areas, what a human healthcare worker could ever do. Like, how is it possible that any person could hold, you know,
That much info.
that much context in its brain at the same time? Well, an AI system will be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think things are going to get crazy a little bit, and
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of benefit to it, and then of course you've got there will be certainly the downsides to things, but it'll be
Yes.
a
Yeah.
wild time.
Yes. Yes, it will. Wow, Russ, I could talk to you all day about this. So we are definitely going to have to do this again
Love
and
to.
maybe again
Yeah.
because this is deep and a lot of business owners need to understand how to use AI efficiently.
Yeah, I think the next session we should talk about what are the 8 ways that AI is evolving, and only one of those is in the area of intelligence, because there are actually, the AI systems, in my opinion, could cease to become any more intelligent, and because of these other 7 ways that it's continuing to improve, it will still be the most disruptive thing that's ever happened to you or I, certainly, but maybe ever. Even if the models remain at the same level of intelligence, which, by the way, no serious person working on AI thinks that they've hit any kind of intelligence ceiling. But there's these other ways we need to be thinking about how AI is evolving. Maybe we save that one for part 2.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, how can people connect with you and get in your program?
Yeah, go over to jointheclick.ai, check us out. We're doing trainings every week, and it's a lot of fun to learn these systems. And yeah, hope to see you in there. If you come in there, jump in the community and say hi to me and get involved, because it's it's crazy is if you got involved as the time we're shooting it, like, you're still early to the party. You're an early adopter. There's very few people that really understand what's going on with these systems, and um, there's still so much room for people to come in here and master these tools and build cool things.
Yes, yes. I'm looking forward to it. You got me all excited. Oh my God, I'll be in my pajamas tonight on your site playing around, listening to stuff.
Well, there's a lot of training in there if you want to just jump right in.
Yes, yes, indeed. So, Russ, we are definitely going to do this again. And thank you so, so much for all the nuggets you dropped. It has been amazing. And audience, I hope y'all took it down. And when this goes up, you just keep watching it and join the group,
Yeah,
because the more you know, the better off you're going to be. Simple
100%.
as that. So thank you so much. And thank you, audience.
Thanks for having me on.